Hello everyone and welcome to Formula Euro League for Season 7 Round 3 here in the hills of Austria, awaiting what should be another fantastic race. I am your commentator today, Jackson, and alongside me is Mimula. Hello Mimula.
Hello, I am very good here today. Yourself?
Very good. Looking forward to what should be a very exciting race. What do you expect from today's race?
We should expect some more good amount of overtaking considering you have three DRS zones and they will cover, well, pretty much half the track. As you have the whole of Sector 1 is pretty much DRS and then you have half of Sector 2. So it should be a very interesting race here, with the shortest lap times for this season. Quality could be, maybe somebody could breach into the 101s if they get really string the lap together.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. A very quick field we've got here today. What was the pole time in Tier 2 today? Do you remember?
1023 from Yuri.
So Yuri, perhaps now 3 tenths. It's a short track, so it's hard to exactly gauge pace compared to other tracks. But I would say a lot of the front guys here potentially are capable of going into the 101s. Then, of course, Yuri a very quick driver, so it's hard to sort of improve much more than that 2.3. But maybe even himself knows that he's got a couple temps in there. But you have to wait and see here. That's the good thing about Austria, is you get quite a lot of laps in during the session because of how short the lap is. But you need those extra laps because, of course, how easy it is to invalidate around here. So it's going to be interesting to see whether invalidation perhaps becomes a big issue. Of course, Benjamin started near the back of the grid last week. I'm not sure if that was invalidation related, but obviously wasn't a good thing. So another chance for a few quick guys to end up down the back of the grid if they just can't string a solid lap together.
Yeah, honestly, during today's last week in Bahrain, you had the fact that it's much more beneficial to go for a one stop like hard and medium and qualify outside the top 10, which Midnight actually proved as he ended up winning the last week's race and he took the championship lead with it.
Yeah, that was a very strong drive from him, using that extra of the alternative strategy very well. Around Austria, I doubt we'll see anyone deliberately go for the alternative strategy, but I think most of the drivers that qualify outside of the top 10 will go for the medium tyres to start on, because although it's not worth qualifying on the mediums, at least in my opinion, just from the outset. However, I think if you are outside the top 10, mediums are probably the better strategy, especially with a safety car placed into your hands. But although it's very possible that you could have sort of a mid to early safety car around sort of lap 10 to 15, which could ruin those drivers on the medium strategy, force them to the hards until the end. Which, I mean, it's only one step softer than those one step harder, sorry, than those that start on softs and go to mediums. But still, if you have to make the stop onto the hards instead of the softs, it's going to cost you quite a bit of time, and that's when sort of driver pace will be a big factor.
Well, yeah, you have in Dev 2 this morning. You actually had one driver they were victim of a lap 15 or so safety car, and they were on the medium, so they went with the softs and they managed to just about get him to the end and claim 1 point. So, no, because of avoiding penalty, so it can be done, but you really do risk a puncture.
Yeah, that's very true. So, I mean, it'll be interesting when anyone tries that. Because, I mean, what would you say is the maximum? As soon as that got very close, would you perhaps say 20 laps is or maybe 18 laps is the absolute maximum on soft tyres?
Well, yeah, maybe. But obviously you might want to hope another safety car gets thrown in there as well.
That's very true. Of course, yeah, obviously isn't the ideal way to go. Probably only want to do about maybe 10 or 12 laps on the soft tyres, because they don't wear sort of dreadfully, because, I mean, it is a very easy one-stop around here. But given sort of the straights allow you to sort of save tyres a bit more than most tracks, but still sort of it is a very crucial thing around here, especially in that middle sector, because you have so many corners without a straight, because this track was known for its sort of long straights, but it's sort of that sector 2, well, it's actually more like second half of sector 2 and then sector 3, it's pretty much all the high-speed corners, which are very hard to follow through. So whilst, yeah, you can be all over the back of a guy down the first few straights, you're then going to have to be sort of holding on, try and stay in that DRS to keep up with them across the lap.
There is one thing: you can overtake into the penultimate corner if if you get the run, if you get a really good exit, or the other person gets a bad exit. Raycon sets the first lap 102.5, so a decent banker lap, to be fair.
There's a lot of drivers up there, sort of most of these guys comfortably in the 102s. But yeah, Recon, I believe it's their debut, if I'm not mistaken, as Midnight goes to 102.3 already, sort of getting very, I don't know if that was at least a minimum, I'd say, of matching the development tier pole position. So just showing how
I think that would be almost faster.
Are. Yeah, I mean, it's insane.
Benjamin had a snap of oversteer there, actually. Oh, invalid.
That's not what he would have wanted. That is not the start he would have wanted. I mean, I've seen Benjamin driving around Austria in the past, quite a lot actually, and he does have absolutely outstanding pace that I think is sort of around that of Midnight's. However, sort of he tends to make a few more mistakes. However, maybe he's learnt from that, and maybe he'll do better here. But to invalidate on your first run, it seems a bit silly to me, because especially in these first early laps of the session, you just want to get a lap time on the board so that you're sort of, even if you can push later on sort of the later laps when you can risk it a bit more, but you at least want to get one banker lap in, so that maybe you're a few tenths off your best, but at least you're in the fight with, perhaps not necessarily where you could have been, but you're at least in the fight with someone that's not necessarily right at the back of the grid, like of course Benjamin had been like well last week.
Yeah, and I think now we still have a couple of more people to set lap times. As Benjamin's going to head into pits, Karem into the pits as he invalidated too. More X-Rage and an outlap now. And then, yeah, not that many people on laps at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Most people either on in laps or out laps or just in the pits.
Warrage starts his lap now, coming across the start-finish line, heading up towards the uphill turn 1. Very bright sun here, so you got to make sure you pick your apex nicely, use as much curve as you can without invalidating. As you then come up the big hill now, turn 2, what it officially is, easily flat, barely a corner, especially to Formula 1 cars. Braking late into turn 3, nice, lot of speed carry through there then. Gets a good exit, DRS open. Good opportunity for overtaking the race. It'll be down into turn 4. Downhill braking zone though, so it makes it a bit trickier than some of the other braking zones of the lap. Now, very good exit there from Warrage, so they make their way into this very tricky middle part of the lap. Getting a nice bit of understeer at the apex, not necessarily what they quite would have wanted, but still a very strong lap so far from Warrage. Coming out now into the sort of mini straight before the final couple of corners. Very high speed, these final 2 corners of the lap, into 6th gear, revving that out a lot. Altered in 6th down to 4th, but gets a little bit too much curve there, arguably, through the final corner, and Warrage is going to go into P10. Yeah, it didn't look like a perfect lap, did it?
He took it on that last corner. There is a deadly inside curve that can just send you off wide if you clip it, so you have to be a little bit watchful for that. You should. Most laps you shouldn't hit, but if you turn in too much, you may well do. So, that is something you have to avoid.
Let's look anyone else on a lap now. Desto F1, I believe on their debut too, they are going up the hill now towards turn 3. Let's see what the Williams driver can do. Another driver who I know is a very, very quick driver, to see if they can quite maximise. As I say that. They do not maximise the exit there, and I mean they did a good job keeping it out of the barrier, but that is definitely that lap over for them, and they'll be looking to try and set a lap later in the session. Lars Kramer on their way up towards turn 3 now. Can they do it better than Desto did?
A little bit, but I think that would be nearly enough to punch them to P3, so any improvement is a good improvement.
It's very true. Especially in a field as close as this. I mean, 1/10 gains you quite a few positions here. I mean, the only driver I can see so far that's had a lap that's massively off the pace is Shizu Joey down in 14th. But that, I mean, that's clearly a lap that he's either backed out of or made some sort of mistake on, because it's not sort of a little bit off the pace. It's 6 seconds, so they've definitely not set the best lap they can do there. As we see Lars Kramer coming around the final couple of corners here, keeps it within track limits, nicely done there. Coming across the line, they go up to P3, so that's just under a 2-tenth gain, but I mean, looking very strong for the AlphaTauri team at the moment, who are running first. As I say that, Benjamin up with a 102.275, very quick lap there for the Renault driver, but still not quite into the 101s. But I mean, that would be an absolutely blinder of a lap if they can get into the 101s. So it'd be interesting to see if anyone can quite get there. But Benjamin proving that he does still have it after a tough qualifying in Bahrain, and of course some tough races to start the season. I mean, he sort of should have argued, as I'm speaking, Midnight goes to the top with a 102.1. They're getting much closer now, but Midnight fights back there against Benjamin, showing that it's not over just yet, and it's going to be a close fight for the pole position. But as I was saying, Benjamin, a tough start to the season for him, but not, other than Bahrain qualifying, the tough start of the season really hasn't been of his own making. He's sort of course, in Silverstone with the wheel disconnect when he should have won the race. And then Bahrain, a very strong drive to get onto the podium after starting at the back of the grid. But I mean, with the same strategy, Midnight won the race, though, so maybe you could take that a bit there. But still, a fantastic start to the season for the reigning champion in terms of his own driving. But the bad luck has hurt him a bit so far this season. But Austria, great chance, a fairly simple track, not the easiest track to make mistakes on. Of course, when battling, it's quite easy to have a bit of contact, but it's going to be interesting to see.
It's a hard track for penalties.
Very true, very true.
Yeah, it's the penalty. You have to be extremely careful. As Joey now 102.6, so slots himself into the top 10.
Fantastic lap there by the Ferrari driver, especially after his early sort of tough lap. But he's only 100th clear of the car behind him, which just shows how close the field is. In terms of sectors at the moment, Midnight is fastest in the first and final sector, but Benjamin holds the fastest middle sector. So, you know, it appears these guys are very close at the moment. But still the field covered by just over a second, which is almost like we've become used to saying at the moment. But Kai Eltink, the driver who has qualified second and taken the lead on both of the race starts this season, can he repeat it? Currently in 18th. What do you think? What do you think's happened there?
Not sure. He was on track earlier on, and I think he's might be going out now, perhaps. Yep, he is. But I think it was most likely an invalid run, so he just decided to leave it and get back to the pits. He'll have to gain a lap now. Probably it would probably be the best for him, as he would need something in, otherwise then it would be all on one lap, where he could end up going for a really high, maybe top 4, top 5, or he could be at the back. So if he gets time in now, then it's a bit easier.
As I mean, it's very important to get a good lap in. With the DRS trains that happen here, you need to sort of put yourself in a good position. But at the same time, the ability to overtake means that it's tough to overtake, but it's not impossible. So a bad qualifying isn't the end of the world here, but Kai's going to want to get up to the order, especially considering some of his race starts this season. But if he can get himself into the top, onto the front row, like he has so many times, he could definitely have the lead by turn 1, but sort of quite a short run to turn 1 means that probably harder than some of his previous races.
I think Carter's the one setting a lap at the moment. He is 15.6 first sector, 28.0 second sector. So this should be a decent lap time. Should be in top 10 very least. P6.
Very nice lap there. Just show you how close it is. Kai invalidating his lap at turn 1 was not ideal.
Not ideal, but it does mean he hasn't wasted the tyres, as he actually giving a beautiful slipstream to Lars.
Sorry, I'm just looking in the comments now to see if anyone knows what the weather is, seeing contradicting opinions. But I mean, if rain is coming, that could sort of partly make sense of some of the lap times. because you'd expect most of this field to be... I mean, I say it as if these guys are going slowly. I could not do any of the lap times they've done so far. But, I mean, you'd perhaps expect another 2 temps, 3 temps. Perhaps it's a mixed...
up to B3.
Yeah, wow, very good lap there from Lars as AlphaTauri continue their strong session so far.
Yeah, strong session indeed.
Got on board with Midnight here for his lap. Let's see what he can do here. As he's going to go through the Sector 1 split. Is it an improvement? No, but only down by 100th. So, definitely recoverable. Looked a bit... didn't look perfect through turns, through turn 3 there. But still very solid, and definitely a lap he can still set a very quick lap time on. As breaking into turn 4, got to the apex, a bit of a lock up there, not ideal, but didn't cost him too much lap time. Now heading to this tricky middle sector. Gets the car turned and missed the apex slightly there, does not look like the perfect lap here, but he's still improving, so he's got a lot of pace in the car, but he invalidates there. That is, well, I mean, it's a shame there for Midnight, but he's got another attempt at it, so it's not over just yet.
Yeah, it's still 4.5 minutes left. There's more than enough time for him to go out and set another lap.
Recon currently on a lap. What can they do? Can they put themselves up into the top 3, perhaps into the top 2 here? Doesn't invalidate penultimate corner. Do they invalidate the final corner? No, they don't. Very nice there. Across the line, and P3. Solid lap back time there, and it just, again, shows just how close it is. Small gains can make you a lot of positions here, and get you a few meters higher up on the grid. As who's out on track at the moment? Anyone on a fast lap? Cram coming to the pit lane there. Dollar Tommy out on a slow lap. Joey, what can they do? Improving through the first sector. That's fantastic for them. Can they keep that improvement though? Because sometimes sort of almost the pressure against you when you're improving by a good amount. You're kind of almost sort of focusing too much on that and don't focus on the lap enough. But Joey, so far, so good. One of the few cars out on track at the moment. I mean, if he sets his lap time, will he have enough time for a lap after this? So perhaps. I mean, what do you think?
It would probably be a bit of a struggle, but I think he could pull it off. Maybe just. I mean, he's 3 minutes now. It'll take him a good minute and then a couple of seconds to get round, especially if he wants to save tires. Actually, maybe not. You can't exactly cut to get round Austria either, as and they're not really allowed to. But he's P5, so I think he'd be happy enough with that.
That's very
1, 2,
true.
3.
I mean, do you think? I mean, let's look at the lap time. He's got what? Let's say 1 minute 10. If you take into account sort of the lap, sort of in that lap, that's still probably an overstatement of the length of the lap. 1 minute 10 to get back into the pits. I mean, he's halfway around the lap now, so say 40 seconds to get back to the pits. Then let's say 30 seconds in the pits. That's what 1 minute 10, and then of course you need an outlap of 1 minute 10. So you need about 2 minutes 20. However, I think he may have just run out of fuel.
No, he's slow. He's slowing.
He's run out of fuel. I think he could have done it without running out of fuel there, but it's unlucky for him. But clearly he's pushed it to the limit and gone over it. So, I mean, it's still not impossible. He could still, maybe if he had to, I'm guessing at those times. So, it's definitely still got a chance at it, and I'm sure he'll still try. But it's going to be interesting to see whether he can get out again or not. Meanwhile, the top guys are all on outlaps at the moment. Out of these groups of cars, who is first to start a lap? It will be Benjamin, who comes around the penultimate corner now. And begins his lap. No, he doesn't. He's going for a second outlap. Interesting. He's not turned off his ERS. Meanwhile, Midnight is who's next out of this top 4 at the moment. Lars Kramer has started his lap now, going up the hill into turn 3. What can he do? Slight improvement there by 300ths of a second. That could be a lot. I mean, a lot in this session. That could be a position on Recon if Recon is unable to improve. But now heading down towards the tricky turn 4 on the brakes, using all the curb there. Really on the limit. It is, I mean, very close to invalidation, but doesn't invalidate and continues what looks to be a very strong lap at the moment into the middle part of the lap, but it goes wide and invalidates. But
Yep.
I think they've got enough. Well, they've definitely got enough time for another lap. As Recon now begins their lap along with Midnight. So these two guys quite close to
Oh,
track. Joey
Joey's
has
out.
given up.
He's in the pit stop, so he has. Obviously, there's no way he would have gone for a lap in time.
Just, yeah, I mean, perhaps a bit more fuel in the car and he would have been able to do it, but I mean, it's still a very quick lap time, so I'm
Rico
sure he'll be
was
happy.
slower in the first sector, so that doesn't help him.
Just
While
looking-
Lars is improving.
What?
Recon's slow.
That, I mean, let's wait and see what the lap time is going to be. There's not enough time. Oh, actually, Midnight might be able to get one more lap in. I don't think he'll want to, but
no, he's good.
I
He's
thought
going
that
to
was
get
invalid.
1020.
Wow,
I was
I think-
thinking he'd get that.
Had to swerve a bit as he crossed the line, but that was very close there as Desso has retired from the session. Desso, not with a very strong qualifying there, down in 18th. But Kai Elting, currently sitting at the bottom of the times, but is on a fast lap, but not improving by much, so let's have to wait and see there.
Benjamin's improving, but nowhere near enough to take pole position.
Maybe
he
got a
needs
good
to-
final sector. I mean,
He
Midnight's
needs to-
fastest in all the sectors at the moment. Through the final corner, as Karam retires from the session, what can Benjamin do across the line? And it's P2. That is all he can manage today. And I think that's, other than, what can Yuri do? Yuri's backed off, so Yuri on a 102.4.
Orc Red backed off too. I think he's made a mistake there, so that'll be 11. Tim Wenting's also backed off, he was invalid. Now it's just Kai now.
What can
Let's
Kai
see.
do?
No, he's
And he's slow.
backed off.
He's slow. He wants to start last. Don't know why, but he wants to start last. He definitely broke
Well,
there as he approached the line. That
there
wasn't
is
a run out of
usually-
fuel.
There is usually chaos into turn 1, as it's a tight enough first corner, and then there's a lot of chaos going up the hill as well, and then arguably into turn 4. So, yeah, and now we'll go on through the results then.
So yeah, Midnight gets the pole position for the AlphaTauri team, the championship leader on pole. That's a good sign. However, only fast in the final sector, as Benjamin took his fastest second sector and Karem took the fastest first sector. So perhaps that shows us that we could have quite an entertaining race. Yeah, Benjamin lines up alongside Midnight on the front row. Benjamin's going to want to try and recover some points here today. But if Midnight championship leader, he can get another win, that would definitely help him out in the championship fight. Recon P3, very strong lap there for the Racing Point driver. Krem in P4, Lars P5, Joey P6, and went through them too slowly, so I missed the others. We'll go through them on the formation lap, I think. Yeah, let's just sort something out very quickly, and that is sorted. There we go. So yes, let's load onto the grid now. So who do you think are going to be the drivers that fight for this win today? Of course, there's the obvious drivers, but do you think anyone could maybe perhaps spring a surprise?
Well, I was trying to beat Midnight and Benjamin, as they seem to. Right, seems like they'll have a very good battle here for the win. But who knows? You might see one or two surprises here. Not sure who would be the surprise, but who knows? Maybe with a better fit strategy, something might happen.
Yeah, I mean,
we
it's
know.
definitely very much possible. It's simple strategy is what you'd expect, but with a safety car chucked into the mix, perhaps that would mix things up a little bit. And it would definitely perhaps throw a spanner in the works, especially for those up front who are just wanting for a simple race. But I mean, it's going to be a tough one, because these front guys, they know everything. It seems that way anyway. They know all the strategies that you possibly need to know. So it's going to be interesting whether they can actually get the laps and keep the consistency that they need and keep the strategy that they need. Yeah, would you like to run us through the race grid, please?
So obviously you have Midnight, who starts on pole, and Benjamin. Then you've got Recon in P3, so great form from him. You've got Karem P4, and then you've got Lars P5. So AlphaTauri as they've been showing all season, have been doing brilliant. Then you've got Joey, 6th on debut, Yuri 7th, then Sam 8th, Monson 9th, Carter 10th. But then for the strategies, for people outside top 10, is mediums for the Haas drivers, Jordan and Warwick's Rage, 11th and 12th. And 13th and 14th, you've got Tommy in the Alpha and Tim Wentic in the Renault. As you got a spinning Mercedes Orion in the background. But Tommy and Tim Wentic on softs. MT Smash is on the mediums, 15th, along with Ryan 16th. Harry 17th in mediums. Hartford Deso in 18th, and then Kyle think mediums 19th.
It's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out as the cars make their way around the final couple of corners now. Midnight on the grid now, just lining up into his box, up into that lovely P1 box. I'm sure he'll be very happy to be there. And just getting into position now on the back there, Kai Eltink. He brings up the back of the grid today, but can anyone take the fight to the guys up front? We're gonna have to wait and see, as all the cars are on the grid. Green flag at the back. Now we wait for the lights. 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 light, 5 lights. And we are racing in Austria. Who can get a good start? Midnight gets a good start.
Karem's got a brilliant start here.
That is a fantastic start from Karem, but can he gain any positions from it? Has to cut turn 1 a bit there, but Midnight does get the start he needs. There's a Ferrari wide in the background. Will there be any contact further down the order? It looks like there has been, as there is some Mercedes of Ryan who's had a tough start.
I think Ryan's had a little bit of trouble, but he's kept his wing at the very least.
Up through turn 3, who is going to come out of this unscathed? Of course, lots of battles up and down the order, but Karem with a good start there. Got himself into P3 and challenging Benjamin, wasn't quite able to do anything about it. As they dive into the tricky turn 4, is going to be contact between Lars and Recon. Recon on the curbs there wouldn't have helped his exit, but can he keep his nose in? No, he's going to back out of it there and give the position to Lars, as Midnight does lead them away on lap 1 after what was a very good qualifying session for him. He's looking to repeat that in the race and start to
Joey and Yuri having a brilliant battle here. They've been going side by side for almost all sector.
Into the final couple of corners they go, and Yuri does get the position there, but will Joey fight for it back, as that's a Haas that went wide just behind them of George Nader, I believe. As into the pits is Tim Wentic already, and Kai Eltink as well. That is not the start they would have wanted. As got a couple of glitches here on the timing tower, so ignore that for a minute. But surprised Ryan didn't pit. Perhaps he avoided damage, but it definitely looked like he had some contact.
Tim Wentic and Kai have got... Oh dear. Seems like they've made there was contact for them in lap 1. Yep. Trip to the pits.
I think that's Dodd Tommy and Kwan's Carter battling in mid-pack here, going into turn 4. Kwan's Carter on the outside. He hasn't had the best start to the season so far. He's going to want to be getting some points, but he's on the outside curb, and just the grip just isn't there. But he's going to keep pushing, keeping his nose in there, and he's going to send it up the inside. That was a bit of rubbing there between the two
Tommy
drivers.
Going side by side. Carter managed to just keep that one.
Yeah, managed to get that position. A very good battle there between those two. Bit of contact, but nothing too aggressive. But the field is in one long DRS train, which we sort of expected. But Benjamin actually with a fast lap on this occasion, so showing that Midnight's not going to have it all his own way out in front. Benjamin's going to want to try and pull in that gap to Midnight and at least stay in the DRS in case Midnight gets a penalty and perhaps throws this race away. As make their way down towards, again, turn 4, so a short lap here means that it is a very quick laps, although we have a lot of them at 36 laps in the race. Benjamin really all over the back of Midnight up front at the moment, but Krem is pulling along with them. But to be fair, so is the entire pack. We're only starting to see slightly bigger gaps forming around Recon and Yuri at the moment, where these guys appear to be perhaps struggling a little bit more for the leader's pace, but they then sort of pull that gap back in, showing they're not struggling too much. So this entire field all the way down to 17. Actually, no, all the way down to 15.
Oh, I think Sam's had a little bit
Smashes off.
Not the greatest
Smashes off in the
exits.
background. Sorry, Smashes spun
Oh dear.
in start of the third sector, and
Big
has
wing
lost
damage
quite
there.
a wing. He's going to need a safety car to get that car back into the fight for points, but that's a shame for the Rebel driver. And that is not what they would have needed, as Tim and Kai continue their struggles at the back of the pack at the moment, but they will be looking to make some positions up, especially if there's a safety car, and they will probably both get smashed here. But up at the front, it is still pretty much nose tail throughout the entire pack. Midnight leading the way and pulling the field with them, as Smash has decided to retire, which is a shame. Definitely could have got back in the fight with a safety car, but I mean, it's not the ideal situation for him. But Midnight pulling this train along, probably won't want to be. I mean, you get the clear air out on the lead, but of course you've got a bit more top speed, perhaps, but having to burn a bit more fuel down the straight, and of course ERS along with that. But he's got what he's going to have to do is keep the pace up, as that's Monster with a penalty, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings, very early in the race to be getting at one of those. So that is going to be tough if he can.
Yeah. I'm going a bit wide, so I'll try keep an eye on the warnings with the TAS. So, because they'll be crucial. Crown's already in 2, so he has to try keep it ultra clean now. The thing is, Midnight and Benjamin now have a lot of ERS, so they have the potential to try attack and defend.
I think what Midnight and Benjamin want to try and do out front here, I mean, I'm not sure, but if I was in this situation, what I'd probably want to do is essentially try and go at my absolute maximum pace, so that the rest of the field has to push. Then when they push, like, they've got the DRS, yeah, but I mean, Midnight's so quick compared to some of these drivers, that I think if he can go full pace here, then perhaps spread out and sort of separate the pack out a bit, to sort of take away this full DRS train at the moment. And if he can sort of separate these guys out, he's got sort of less to worry about in the event that one or two... If Benjamin starts to challenge him, he wants to only have to worry about Benjamin. He doesn't want to have to worry about losing a position to Karem and Lars too. So he's going to want to have to spread out this pack and essentially make it a duel between him and Benjamin. But I don't see that happening anytime soon, because even if he is able to pull away from some of the drivers lower down in the DRS train, I mean, Karem, Lars, Rukon have all shown incredible pace in qualifying and now in the race at the moment. As Lars could be going for a move here on Karem, and he doesn't go for it there. Got very close to the back of the Williams car, but backs out of the move.
This DRS train does stretch down all the way to 11th. Or actually, no, a bit longer, depending on if George Nader can keep there. Because if he keeps there, then it stretches down to 14th. So the DRS is so powerful here that it will be very hard for Midnight and Benjamin to try shake off the chasing pack. So who knows what can happen.
One of the big questions for this race is going to be which of these drivers, especially in this top sort of 6 or 7, or maybe the top 5, which of these drivers is going to be the first one to really start to drop off on their pace? Who is going to be sort of showing... Because at this stage of the race, this early in the race, these guys can push absolutely to the maximum inside as a spin. And that's the other Rebel Monster, who's also now at a spin coming out of the final corner.
Oh dear.
That is both Red Bulls.
Has he kept his wing?
No, he hasn't. Monster will not be happy with that.
No, he's got...
As
that
battling between
broken.
Karem and Lars, sorry to interrupt, battling between Karem and Lars, but Karem holds onto the position for now. I think, got a feeling here that Karem could be the first of these drivers to start to fall off, because he's got good pace, but he seems to be using a bit more of his ERS at the moment. So perhaps he isn't showing his true pace here, as the Ferraris are battling further down the order. These guys dueling for P7, and that spin for Monster has really separated out the mid-pack, getting a few drivers further down the order as the Ferraris continue to battle through, and that's Joey off the road and with a 3-second time penalty. So it's now just a 6-car battle for the lead, which I mean is still absolutely huge. But this DRS train has definitely shortened a lot after the spin for Monster.
Karem haven't a bit oversteered there, so maybe these tires may well start to be dropping off. I'll check now. No, well, in comparison to the others, they're pretty much identical. I guess it's just maybe how he's coping with this tire wear compared to the others.
Oh, he's gonna nearly hit Benjamin there. Did Benjamin get damage? Benjamin's got damage. And that is Lars spinning around.
Been sent off. He's been sent off by Recon.
And Benjamin does crucially have damage, and Lars have retired down straight, and there is 90%,
Yeah,
19% damage to the front wing of
think-
Benjamin. That's
I
gonna
think
hurt
that's
him.
an end plate. No, it's not quite an end plate, but I think it was just a little bit more would be an end plate, but
Yeah.
he's going to struggle so much now, and with potential warnings. But I think Lars is going to be in for a huge penalty there for that dive.
You think so, but I think that may have been partly caused by Karem. Now, I'd have to see a replay of Lars's onboard there, but I think a part of that was Karem moving quite late, which forced Lars to brake, because Lars definitely pulled out of the slipstream very late from Karem. Now, the question is, was it just Lars making a mistake and not pulling out in time, or was it Karem's fault for moving too late? Now, it was one or the other. It was as Recon does get past
Karem.
Karem definitely sort of, I mean, he got a penalty, and it seems flustered by the incident that happened there.
No, he had 2 warnings already, so maybe.
Well, I mean, Midnight's now starting to pull. He's got that gap over 1 second, so the DRS train we expected, it could end up being the Midnight show here, as he is in a good position. But Benjamin, I mean, what does he do? What would you do if you were Benjamin? Would you replace your wing or not? Because his pace isn't looking too good.
Maybe he might just have to hang on and hope for the power of DRS to help him. He has a bit ERS to make close up to Karem, and then maybe just try something, because realistically, it seems like him and Midnight are the fastest here at around Austria. So maybe he just has to go for a gamble, maybe an early undercut, or staying out a little longer and then pushing like hell in the mediums.
I'm going to have a look at the replay very quickly of what happened between the 2 drivers there. So at the moment, Midnight continues to stretch out his lead, but it's it's only a small lead at the moment. Question is, is he going to try and extend it, or do you think he'll sort of just sit happily knowing that he's got sort of over a second so he can sort of manage his tyres?
Well, yeah, he has capability to manage, plus he doesn't have to worry about being overtaken by anybody with the use of DRS, so he will be able to manage the tyres a little bit better, although Recon has a little less tyre wear in some areas, so perhaps he can push a little bit more.
That is interesting to see there. I'm just watching the replay at the moment of the incident between Karem and Lars. But I mean, I think that's only been a one for the stewards after the race, because whoever thought it was, they're going to be getting definitely a sizable penalty for that, probably at least 5 seconds, I'd say, because they've...
Well, can't we penalise with...
That's true. Penalty points, you'd have to assume, would go the way of Lars if it was his fault.
20 pound maybe, considering that dive. Well, it kind of ruined the whole fight for the race win, and also gave some Benjamin damage, as he was... As well, that was just a bit of... Yeah, everyone just... Sometimes you just have that moment where you just make that kind of mistake.
Benjamin is pitting along with Karem here. End of lap 12, that's sort of when we would have expected them to be coming in.
Yeah, coming a bit early. In Dev 2 they came in around maybe lap... Well, obviously lap 15 for safety car, but not many people actually pitted. One lap 14, so Benjamin on the hards. Karem on the hards too.
Benjamin, sorry, did change his wing, so I think he just needed to pit there and get in some clear air.
Have to hope for a bit of an undercut.
Dollar Tommy has damage to his wing. He's missing half of it. That's how much he's got. Ryan also does have some minor damage, I believe, from the start of this race.
Yeah, it was the start of the race. He got a slight bit of damage.
And yeah, at the moment, Midnight sitting comfortably out front. And his tyre wear, it's slightly worse than those behind him. However, sort of in terms of peak tyre wear, it's pretty much the same, not much worse. Sort of, Recon's keeping his front tyres a bit less worn.
Oh, Yuri and Carter now.
Midnight is staying out, though. Midnight definitely going to try and go to the mediums here. It seems like he's unfazed by other drivers trying different strategies. But in terms of tyre wear at the moment, in terms of sort of the highest tyre wear, both Midnight and Recon with their rear lefts quite high on tyre wear. However, Recon seems to have better front tyres, so perhaps that could help him out during the middle sector. So perhaps Recon is sort of not quite showing all his pace at the moment. But at the moment, Midnight is all flying away with it.
That's all Ryan. So Ryan actually getting a beautiful switchback here. It seems now. As Ryan's holding up. So mediums for hards. The hards should be a little bit better at this stage. Or maybe it's just across. Oh, dear Ryan. He nearly had a spin there. Just managed to get back on track without problems.
Yeah, it was nearly a costly mistake there for Ryan, but he keeps it going. Doesn't lose too much time. But that's F1, definitely recovering up the order quickly. But up at the front, nearly and now over a 2-second lead for Midnight at the front of the field as we are on lap 14 now, nearly at the halfway point. Just about 4 laps out. As battle between George, as it's free wide, they're coming up the hill. As it's two Hasses and the Ferrari of Joey battling away. But it's the Haas cars that come out on top. George Nader in P4 at the moment. Of course, these are all because of some drivers pitting. But still, these battles are all very important. The Haas drivers of War Rage going up the inside of George Nader here. Locks up his inside front a lot. Will he make the corner? Just about, but it's been a very good exit there for George Nader, but he doesn't fight anymore. Smarter in there to back off and perhaps let his teammate have that. But George Nader goes slightly wide, gets onto the exit curb, but doesn't lose too much time, as that is another penalty for Viati Karem. It's not been his day so far, and is struggling quite a bit.
He's coming up towards his teammate now, so he'll have to hope they... not great for him.
Will Deso F1 let his teammate through as that is Midnight and Morage into the pits now? And
No,
both
with
going to
Recon.
the medium tyres. Yes, Midnight and Recon into the pit lane. And all Midnight very close there to the outside of the pit wall. These guys never stop.
Rem's out of Recon now, or it's going to be side by side. So let's see, can Recon get the move done here? No, I think he's going to wait a little.
He should easily have the pace advantage over that of Karem, but it'd be interesting to see whether he can use it or not. He's got the DRS.
He's gaining so much. I think this... Let's see, will Karem try to fight this? He will, maybe in the form of switchback. But doesn't look like he can.
Yeah, it just doesn't quite work for him. But I mean, Recon goes a bit deep into the first of the high-speed corners, but he keeps it in position and holds what is P6 currently, but will potentially be a net P2 at the moment. But Deso F1 showing very strong pace at the moment on those hard tyres, keeping his teammate behind, despite the difference in tyre wear.
Yeah, so we still have the top three who haven't pit yet. So it'll be interesting to see where they come out and how quickly they can start gaining on the medium runners.
Benjamin battling between Recon and Deso. Recon gets the position nice and easy there, not surprised by that at all.
Ryan passed by Carter.
Perhaps teammates there not fighting too hard against each other. But Benjamin down in P11 at the moment, behind these groups cars. That front wing changes cost him a lot of time, and put himself in the fight with the Ferrari cars, but those Ferraris on the medium tyres are going to be so much quicker. This has not been the ideal start to the season for the reigning champion. Ryan struggling now as well as he loses an old place to Yuri. Yuri showing solid pace at the moment on those hard tyres. Well, there's a few drivers on the hards, but I mean, these hard tyres do not look like that. They are the optimal tyres at the moment, obviously. Perhaps they'll balance out towards the later stages of the race, perhaps even become a quicker tyre than the mediums. But at the moment, it definitely looks like the medium tyres were the way to go. I mean, I'm surprised so many drivers did pit for them at hards, because I can understand Benjamin with the damage, but It just looks like such a big pace difference between the hards and the mediums. I'm surprised by the amount that took the hard tyres.
Yeah, although the mediums will kind of die out towards the end, so I will be interested to see what the pace difference will be like. Maybe once you get to the last maybe 5-7 laps, as Benjamin go down the inside of Ryan. It's Desso and Karem as well. So Karem, could he go down the inside? It was turn 5. Yep, he can. And Benjamin has a position of Ryan, so making our way through the order.
Good moves from Karem at the moment. But at the moment, Benjamin is sitting only in P10, has taken into account the drivers in front that need to pit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 cars in front of him have to pit. That is not as many positions Benjamin will be hoping to gain. But the Ferrari's now on the back of Ryan. Ryan really struggling with his damage now. It's not helping out at all, obviously. But Sam Gamer, as we've got a battling between Kwan's Carter and Desso, and Karem actually is getting involved in this one. As Kwan's Carter on the outside of Karem. Will those medium tyres work for him? Instead of nearly making contact down the straight there. Very aggressive between the two of them. And Kwan's Carter gets the position as they make their way into turn 4.
As you're in Desso, he's went for a dive, it worked. As well, Desso's in 17 lap 1 hard.
Ferraris have got past the Mercedes of Ryan. Joey and Sam Gamer seem to be doing well together at the moment, staying close on track and battling a bit, but not too much I don't think at the moment, and keeping their pace up. Both drivers on the medium compound tyre. They're going to be wanting to get onto the back of Benjamin now, as they have the tyre advantage and they're going to use it whilst it is a big advantage for them. I'd expect medium runners into the pits in a matter of laps as their tyre wear is getting quite high now. Yeah, all getting into the mid-60s at the moment, so expect them in, I'd say, in the next 3 laps into the pit lane for the soft compound tyre. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Will anyone struggle towards the end of the race? That is Ryan in the pits now for a set of soft tyres, so he's going to be the first of those to pit for the softs. I mean, it's going to be tight to get onto the end, but, I mean, tight but comfortable, I'd say. But it's just not going to be able to use the pace.
Yeah, he's last now.
I mean, he's going to be close to... oh, that's battling there between Benjamin and Joey. Joey trying to go around the outside and not able to do it. But now perhaps Sam Gamer's going to want to go for the move. He's going to dive it up the inside of his Ferrari teammate. And contact between the two Ferraris. And that
Joey,
forces
another
Joey
penalty.
to get a penalty. I think that's twice now Joey's got a penalty from his teammate pushing him wide. So just a lap ago I was saying how they're sort of fighting enough but not too much. I would say this is now fighting too much between the two Ferraris, and it is costing them in the long run. And their team boss certainly won't be happy.
Both Ferraris have 6 seconds, so it's not they're not exactly helping each other, to say the least.
But yeah, I mean, Benjamin sitting with no penalties in front, they've got the tyre advantage, but I mean, with the DRS train, if they get past, they're not going to be able to pull away, are they? But Sam Gamer here is going to go for is he going to go for the move up the hill into turn 3? Not looking like it. Yes, he is. I take that one back. Locking up on the inside front and pushes Benjamin straight off the road. Verstappen-like move there, but that's going to give the chance to Joey as they make their way down the hill towards turn 4. Joey squeezed onto the grass as Sam Gamer blocks on the inside line. Benjamin contact there. That was yeah, very aggressive there. I'm surprised there's not going to be a collision. The Ferrari's going to battle again as they're blocking each other and really not helping each other out here in the race so far. As it's a good exit for Joey, but not good enough as they head through into the final sector now. Joey, he's pushing. These guys are pushing so hard against each other, and well, it's not what you expect from teammates here. As George Nader is into the pit lane now, followed by who else is coming into the pits there? I believe that is that Williams of Desso who's coming to the pits? Yes, it is.
Joey's out. He's out.
Oh, he's crashed. That'd be a safety car, and it is a safety car. Safety car is deployed.
Harry and Warwick's Rage can they have been blessed.
How long do you think you lose under safety car pit stops here?
You don't lose that much. Pit stop around here is generally like 20 seconds maybe, because you go in fast into the pit lane and then you have the straight.
I think it's going to be a quick one here, and I think if they come out ahead of Cool Hands Carter, then I think Harry has got a good chance at the win here today on those soft tyres. Midnight, he's got impeccable pace, but on those medium tyres, is he going to have anything to fight those soft runners? As Harry is into the pit entry now, so is Warade.
Does he want to go for the softs?
I would definitely go for the softs, 100%.
Yep, he's in. Recon is in now. Carter, he'll be in. Karem will be in. Yuri, he'll be in. Karem actually has 9 seconds now, so I think the safety car won't really benefit him that much. And
Sam Gamer stays out. Sam Gamer has stayed out here, and will possibly jump up into perhaps P2 here. It's going to be close between himself and Warade, but he's going to jump into P3. Sam Gamer into 3rd place here by not pitting. He's shown a lot of aggression so far in this race. I've got a feeling he's going to show some more here. Now that he's in a top position. But George Nader's also gained a ton here. I mean, these guys have gained so much. The Haas team's in a love in this situation at the moment. But Harry handling the rest, and Harry's a very quick driver who potentially could contend for the victory here today. I mean, he's at minimum going to contend for the victory here. The question is, can Midnight, we've seen him. He's so quick when he's got clear air. This is the first time we're really seeing him in traffic. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do. What do you think he's going to be able to get up into the lead again?
Well, I'd most certainly a podium, because I think he'd be able to pass Jordan, and then Sam, that should be no problem with the mediums, unless Sam is able to defend as well as he has been for a lot of this race against most his teammates for the most part. Then it'll be difficult enough to get ahead of Harry or Warwick's Rage. It'll be a struggle, but I think he could do it.
I'll have to wait and see now.
Now, see, he'll have other people on his tail, like Recon, maybe Carter, and as Ryan's into the pitch for whatever reason, I think he just wants brand new softs.
That's an interesting one, yeah. You think he'd stay out there, but now he's going to be at the back of this train of cars. Yeah, Ryan down in 15th place here. He's going to come out ahead of Dollar Tommy. But I mean, this is essentially a straight fight to the finish now. Deso on the mediums though, so interesting strategy from Deso. Perhaps he'd run out of the soft sides, but still, fresh mediums are better than old mediums. Sam Gamer, the only driver out on track at the moment, on old medium tyres.
Or maybe Deso's just going for the full push strategy, because then he knows he doesn't really have to worry much about tyre wear.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be able to go all out. He would not have to think about conserving at all. It appears Joey's not very happy with his teammate at the moment. Perhaps there was contact between the two of them that caused lead to Joey's retirement from the race. We'll have to wait and see though. Safety car potentially could be in this lap. I believe it is. And I've missed it. Sorry about that.
Yep. Well, that safety car is definitely running as it is set off, and he's trying to get back to the pits. Thing is, when's Harry going to go for the restart? Because who knows?
And he's gone for it now. Nice and early there for Harry, needing to use that dirty air to his advantage.
He's got a brilliant restart here.
And
Warwick's Rage has been caught napping a bit, but Sam Gamer's been caught napping maybe because of the mediums.
But I mean, he's kept it close to those around him, considering
Midnight penalty.
Tires. That is big. I mean, perhaps what you can... yeah, I mean, that's a big penalty for Midnight. As battling between Sam Gamer and George Nader already as they head up into turn 3. Sam Gamer is defending there from George.
Benjamin's right past Yuri, so this is a chance for Benjamin maybe to start making his way through the pack. If he can catch himself up to Midnight, is George Nader past the
contact.
Oh, big contact there.
Sam is aggressive at the moment. Will he keep this aggression up, or will he sort of accept his fate? As he's being passed now by Midnight. Midnight gets through nicely there. Midnight making his way up the order. Sam Gamer, I mean, it just does not look like the right strategy here from Sam Gamer. He got the track position, but with his penalties especially, he was always going to lose that. it seems like a mistake here from Sam Gamer, for sure. But I guess we'll have to wait and see till the checkered flag falls. That is,
Oh yeah, correct, going wide again.
yeah, as
he's
Harry
struggling.
without a penalty here, along with War Rage. I mean, last season we saw one hell of a race here in Austria.
Was it Renault 1-2, wasn't it? Tim
Yes,
Wentic.
it's Renault 1-2 with Tim Wentic and Benjamin finishing first.
Oh, Graham going for a dive here, and Carter.
Maybe he's taking some advice from his old battle with Lars there. But he goes up the inside and makes the move on Grant Carter. And defends a bit there, but looks to the inside. And I think he's just blocking off then, just in case. But up front, Warrage is keeping with Indiaris quite comfortably there. As speaking of being quite close, Midnight all over the back of George Nader at the moment. Midnight
He might go for it here.
Yeah.
He probably has to. It's an easy one.
He's using so much more ERS though than the others around him, so he knows that he has to make these moves now if he wants to get this race win. But I mean, it's not. I mean, with Benjamin having a fairly tough race here today, Midnight can be a bit more patient. But then again, Benjamin's going to gain quite a lot of positions on penalties here. So Midnight with that 3-second penalty, perhaps he knows that he needs to get out to the front. But even if he does get to the front, can he actually pull a gap or not? Because Harry and Warrage are both very quick drivers. Of course, Warrage was a championship contender last season. Harry showed a ton of pace last season and a ton of potential as well going into this season.
Gamer action to defend from Recon, but Recon's going to get this one. He's going to go outside, so it'll be a little more difficult. Sam, extremely aggressive. Now Recon trying to switch back here, so can he get his position? It looks like he might be able to hang around the outside, perhaps. He'll have to be careful with track limits, but he's kept it clean and he's got the position, so some brilliant racing there.
Yeah, these guys are very much on the limit here, and it's good to see Sam Gamer not being too aggressive here at the moment. He's fighting as hard as he can, but he's not being stupid about it, which is something that we sometimes see with drivers when they are almost pushed into a bad situation, like this current tyre situation that Sam Gamer is in. Driver I haven't spoken about much, the driver that is, I believe, second in the championship moment is Kai Eltink down in P15 at the moment. He started at the back and he's about to get up to P14 here as he passes Monster. But it's not been the...
That's Karem now for the inside.
Karem slicing his way up the order here, getting past Sam Gamer.
And Sam got huge oversteer there, so now Carter may be through.
Oh, he blocks him! Oh, that was going to be a big one.
Extremely aggressive.
As
we've missed Harry.
We've missed Warrage taking the lead here. Apologies, viewers. Midnight up into P2 now. Has Harry sort of made a mistake somewhere and lost those two positions, or is he just...
no, he got passed by Midnight normally, but I think he got passed by Rage too. Oh, Carter nearly lost it there, so he'll be under fire now from Yuri.
Benjamin looking to the inside of Sam Gamer into the penultimate corner. And he uses track limits there, but still no penalty for Benjamin. Same cannot be said for a lot of other drivers in this field at the moment. As Warrage leads this race.
Benjamin has just a one warning.
I mean, how? I'll never know. Especially compared to some of these other guys out here. But Benjamin sitting comfortably there in P7 at the moment, at least. He's going to get quite a lot of positions here on penalties. Even if he doesn't make the moves on track, he'll get them on penalties. But currently he's, I think, in a net P3 and potentially even a net P2. No, a net P3 and potentially a net P4 depending on Midnight's penalty. As Yuri and Guanscarter, Yuri gets past Guanscarter there and getting up into 9th position. But of course, penalty is going to be a big factor, especially coming towards the end of this race now. With just 8 laps remaining in this race, another race is flying by, especially when you have a reset like that late in the race. It really does mix things up. But at the front it is Warrage who continues to lead the race, but Midnight is very close and is looking to want to take the lead away from Warrage. As that is a crash, safety car, and it's Monster, and it's Ryan. It appears Ryan has had a crash at the final corner, and the safety car has been deployed.
Yeah.
That is bad news for Midnight. That is dreadful news for Midnight.
The thing is anyone going to pit? Is anyone going to try pit?
Surely Sam Gamer. I mean, actually,
yeah, he'll have to pit.
Tyre wear's about 5. It's been Most of these guys are in about 25%, 20 to 30% wear at the moment. Some of the guys that have worn their tyres a bit more...
Joy's at disconnect, I believe.
Oh,
Or no, he's left
he's out of the race,
retired
so
already.
yeah.
Oh, I thought he had to disconnect.
But at the moment, most of these guys are sort of getting near 40% tyre wear. I think we could see quite a few here pitting for some fresh soft tyres, if they have them available, that is. But yeah, a lot of these guys quite relatively high tyre wear, considering that we've been racing for about 5 laps. But I think we could see, perhaps especially at the back of the pack, we could see a couple of people gamble for some fresh soft tyres. Warrage stays out at the front though, as they make their way around to catch the safety car. Will anybody come into the pit lane? It's not looking likely. Sam Gamer, even Sam Gamer doesn't pit. As Kyle Tink does pit though, along with Dollar Tommy. These guys want fresh tyres. As Kyle Tink speeds into the pits.
Oh,
that's not good. I mean,
no,
the second time he's done it this season.
It's on the safety car as well. Yes.
His best bet now is to come in, pit again next lap, and serve the penalty. Surely that's the best choice you could do there.
Yeah, that's probably the most logical choice there.
But yeah, at the moment, everyone... I mean, these guys at the back, couldn't they potentially get a few positions? It's going to be hard to tell. But all these guys have a lot of penalties, so it probably won't impact too much at the moment.
The gamble here could pay off for some of the guys lower down the order anyways. Like, realistically, if you have soft you can just push the hell out of, you should be able to make up a couple of positions at least.
I mean, it's going to be qualifying laps for these guys until they finish now, at the back of the pack. Whereas the guys up front are going to be... They're going to be pushing to the limit, but their limit will be much, much lower than that of the guys that pitted. So, yeah, it's going to be tight. Rage leading the safety car at the moment. Still, no one else looking like they're going to pit. Let's have a look at the back of the pack. Let's see if Kai will come into pit. And it's looking like he is going to pit for some fresh softs and to serve that penalty. Also looks like Monster's following him in. So, Monster's... I know he isn't. He was just taking the pit entry. That's my bad. Yes, that is Kai pitting now.
Desso in the pits as well. He wants to get...
Desso's not got any penalties. And on fresh softs, that is going to be a quick car towards the end of this race. As puts on these soft tyres. And with that 3-second time penalty now, you've got to say that Midnight's been sort of almost ruled out of the win here. Because he's going to have to rely on a collision, you'd have to say. He needs to take the lead. And then, similar to how we got sort of the out of DRS early in the race, he wants to get the lead and then hope that either the guys are just really slow behind him, or they sort of have some sort of battles or contact between them that allows him to get that 3-second gap. Because with 5 laps remaining, it's not going to be an easy one. For him to take.
It's not going to be easy at all, especially with the power. Well, one slipstream for the first 2 laps, and then add on DRS. If somebody's able to keep within Midnight's DRS, then it's curtains effectively for a race win. At the moment, Midnight, he actually got a bit more tyre wear than Warwick's Rage. So Warwick's Rage has been managing his tyres beautifully as safety cars in this lap.
He's backing up the pack a lot here. As they prepare for, hopefully, one final restart to today's race. Who is going to come out on top today?
Going about 80 kilometers an hour. Obviously, he has to let the safety car get into the pits, because otherwise then he gets a limiter. And that could really ruin his restart.
He is now able to restart when he wants to, and he goes now.
Yeah, good Midnight, time. He is... Has he been called out? A little bit,
out, but I think that's more sort of dirty air rather than being caught out. But battling already further down the order of Recon and Karema battling away, as that's Benjamin involved on Recon there, and he's going to get up the inside and take P6 away there. He's not got any penalties, so he just needs to keep it clean. He's got a good chance at a podium.
But Recon's going to try passing back, so this would be up the hill into turn 3. Benjamin should have this one.
Diving up the inside of George Nader. I mean, with penalties for Azad is battling going down with Desso.
He's got like 12 seconds.
But I mean, Desso F1 on free. Desso on sorry, not Deso, Recon on 3 seconds is in a very good situation because yeah, he's got those 3-second time penalty, but I mean he's the only, other than Kai Eltink further down in the order, he's the only other driver that is on 3 seconds. So it's still a decent penalty advantage over those like Karem, George Nader. Recon is still in a very strong position, but Dolatomi has lost quite a lot of positions further down the order. As battling between Cool Hans Carter and Yuri, as Yuri goes very wide there. Will he rejoin? Yes, he will. And, I mean, somehow avoiding major contact, but that has really stacked up the pack further behind. Kyle, I think, up into P12 here. He's got a good chance of points today, actually. Not what he would have wanted, though.
Oh, Yuri and Carter tapped, and Yuri almost spun, but this battle is aggressive, as Tim Wenting's actually passing the pair of them.
As what is going to happen is it's 4 wide nearly as they go onto the brakes into turn 3. Who's going to come out of this on the other side? As it's nearly contact again there between Yuri and Tim Wenting. As these guys are really sort of helping out the leading group. As it's 3 wide. Oh, that was nearly a big one there. As Kai Eltink nearly running into the back of them. But Yuri and Tim still side by side. Yuri's going to try and go around the outside, but isn't able to pull it off.
3 wide
Kai
here.
Eltink is going to try and make a double overtake here, but he backs out of it. He has to back out of it there to avoid the contact. But Tim Wenting a little bit wide. I mean, we should probably be watching the leaders, but I mean, there's nothing happening there at the moment.
Yeah,
Let's watch
keep
this
an eye on the leaders.
whilst it's going on. But Kai Eltink here with a good restart up into P10, but that penalty, I mean, it'll probably gain him more positions than he loses, but we'll have to wait and see till that checkered flag drops. As Kai Eltink going up the inside of Tim Wenting now, using these fresher tyres by about 20%. He is loving this at the moment, but at the moment Midnight just doesn't appear to have the tyres at the moment compared to Warrage, but is still putting Warrage under a lot of pressure as they continue to battle it into the hairpin. It's Yuri going around the outside of Tim Wenting. Tim Wenting is going to push Yuri all the way to the edge of the track to limit his grip on the outside. That's Monster and Quan's Carter behind, battling away as they make their way down towards turn 4 now. As that is Yuri going to the inside. No, he doesn't. And he backs out of it as that's nearly contact behind his Monster. I think he expected Yuri to go for the move, but he didn't go for the move. And as that's off in the background, that's Dolatomi, who's going through the gravel in the background. And is off in a big... Quan's Carter has crashed. Quan's Carter has crashed there. And it's too late for a safety car, but, I mean, definitely would be one if this game could have late safety cars. That definitely would have been one, because his car was sideways on the racing line there. And it appears he has just sort of almost just
Jim
spun
Wenting's picked up a penalty, so he was in a position to pick up a lot of positions after that penalty. Oh, Midnight, another penalty, what?
That's dreadful, Midnight, because now that's going to put him behind Benjamin, easily put him behind Benjamin. And Midnight now is going to lose a lot of positions, potentially even losing out to Recon here if he's not careful. That's a lot of battling going on, as that's Kyle, I think, now with another penalty, which is not ideal, but up into 8th position. He's going to want to try and hunt down Recon, but there's got a bit of a gap there as Sam Gamer. I've got to hand it to him, Sam Gamer, take out the penalties from the equation. He's in a pretty good position at the moment, sitting in 9th, especially given the strategy that he just attempted to pull off. But up front it is currently Warrage who leads the way. Harron does not appear to have the pace in this stage of the race, but Warrage is looking very strong here for a potential victory. But, I mean, we've seen this in the past, and it's not always... That's Williams off. And it's Karem off.
Karem's off. Oh,
in a big way, Karem into the gravel.
That's unlucky.
And whoa, he nearly got hit by his teammate then. Thank God for ghosting. As Karem rejoins, and at this point it's away, so he's nearly been collected by Monster then as well. And that is Karem's day over. As we are now on the final lap of the race, Warrage versus Midnight for the win. Midnight with those 6 seconds of penalties, it will probably be smart here to just stay behind Warrage and just sort of take the point.
He doesn't want to fight, but Benjamin's going to pass Jordan Nader. Jordan Nader is not going to fight this one. I think he just wants to free DRS maybe.
I mean, when you have that many penalties, you almost need to sort of limit the amount of time you lose. Because if you've got no penalties, you can push the limit, because you know sort of that you're gonna jump those guys, especially when you've got sort of 6 seconds less than those guys in front of you. But sort of George Nader at the moment, he needs to focus on not losing too much time for those behind, because he just doesn't want to lose too many places, because it's all to play for still. As a Warrage,
he had a bit of a slide there in the last couple of corners, but I think he's going to win this one.
Warrage heading towards the final 2 corners, as Monster, I believe, had a bit of an off there. But Warrage into the final corner now goes Warwick's Rage, and across the line, Warrage wins in Austria. Midnight takes second place, but he loses it to Harry on penalties. Midnight dropping down the orders. Benjamin does take another podium here. And again, I think after everything that happened in the race, he'll be happy with the podium. But I'm sure he would have wanted more going into
actually
today.
jumped up competitions in the end. So,
Yeah,
brilliant job from him.
But yeah, this is a very, very entertaining race. And congratulations to War Rage on what was, well, just frankly a dominant drive today. As looking further down the order, I believe Sam Gamer lost his wing on the final lap, but still managed to score a point. And I don't know, he crashed. Sorry, that's my bad. He crashed on the on his way to the flag, and he's now been hit by Alfa Romeo. But yeah, let's. I'll have a quick look at how this changes the championship situation. So you have to wait for it to update at the moment.
Yeah, this well, this does change a couple of things. I'll be fairly certain of that.
I mean, to be fair though, all the championship contenders had bad races today. I mean, Midnight having sort of the best of the bad races, and he was leading the championship, so he hasn't lost too much here today. And I believe still does lead the championship on 52 points, but Warrage now on 35 points, Harry on 34, Kai Elton on 42. Yeah, Benjamin on 30, yeah. I mean, it's surprising that Benjamin's only on 30, but of course those two P3s just, I mean, suppose just aren't as good as some of the other results. But could you invite the three podium drivers to the party, please?
Yep, no problem.
So yeah, a 10-point lead, I believe now, for Midnight, 10 points ahead of Kyle Tink, but Harry and Warrage catching up a lot after today's entertaining race. I just have Kyle Tink ends his run off second places, finishing 7th today. Sam Game, that's his worst result with 10th place. His previous worst result was a 7th. Dollar Tommy, 14th, his best was a 12th. His previous worst, sorry, was a 12th. Let's have a quick look at the championship standings. Provisional, I may add, because there may be penalties to come. It's a shame this isn't in the right order, really. But leading the championship, it is Midnight. Second is Kai Eltink. Third is... let me just find them. Who would be in third at the moment? I believe it's Warrage who's going to be third now. Fourth is Harry. Fifth is Benjamin. Sixth in the championship.
I just need to get Harry in now, and that's it.
Yeah. This, of course, was Warrage's first victory of the season. And Benjamin's second podium of the season, so it's good to see from him. As we just wait for those to join the party. Yeah, another entertaining race in Formula Aero League, especially in the early stages when we saw the incident between Benjamin, Karem and Lars. We may have thought that, you know, this is the battle for the win over, but I mean, it's far from it. As a fantastically timed safety car helped out some of the guys and definitely brought this race back alive, as we now await the podium sitters to the party.
Well, Harry's in here now, so...
Yep. Should we start the interview with Harry and then interview the others when they get here? Does that sound good?
Mm. Well, yeah, we'll start with Harry. So, obviously the safety car was a huge benefit for you. But what happened when you lost the lead? Were you just passed by Warwick's Rage and Midnight normally, or did you make a mistake?
So, a little bit over for the race. My pedals were moving a little bit. I didn't have much pace on a soft tyre, so I wasn't too worried about letting War Rage through. And then when when Midnight was behind me, my pedals moved completely out of alignment. So I sort of let him through, quickly paused it, and then got them back in position to sort of get back going again. But yeah, I'm not too disappointed because I think those two are definitely a lot quicker than myself on the softs. So I'm very happy with second up anyway.
Okay, so that would explain it then, but still happy with the result, I assume.
Yeah, definitely. I think I got blocked on my qualifying lap, so and I just sort of decided. Well, I knew I wouldn't be anywhere near the front, so yeah, qualifying 17th, and then when you do, I was in a good position to hopefully get some good points, but the safety car came out at such a perfect time that obviously then I knew with no penalties as well, which is quite crucial. I knew the podium should be a good target.
As Benjamin has joined the party now as well. So, of course, congratulations, Benjamin, on your podium. Second, third place in a row. But as reigning champion, I'm sure you'd have wanted more. But I mean, what was your thought process early in the race when there was the contact with Lars? What were you thinking when that happened?
Oh, well, I just shit my pants basically. He was like 8 tenths behind, and I was already turning in, and I just saw a car coming straight in front of me. So yeah, initially I didn't think I had damage, but yeah, then I just had massive understeer, and I checked my wing, and I had a yellow-orange wing. So yeah, I needed to pit on two hards to yeah, make up the time again and change my wing. So to get a P3 in the end, I'm so happy.
That is very good. Yeah, avoiding penalties today. Both you two drivers were two of the few drivers that managed to get no penalties today. First, Harry, how hard was it to avoid penalties today? Were you focusing on that, or was it more of a bonus?
No, I was definitely focusing on it. When you start 17th or whatever, and you're on the alternate structure, you're sort of relying on the race going good for you at the end. And obviously, if you get on the soft tyres, but you've already got 9 seconds of penalties, then it's pointless. So I was in the first stint just try and make sure I got little warnings. I think I finished the race with 1 warning. So yeah, just being a little bit cautious worked well.
And same question to you, Benjamin. Were you focusing on avoiding warnings?
Yeah, but I just try to get no warnings because it's really crucial, and I only got 2 warnings when I had that front wing damage. I just couldn't turn in anymore, and I didn't know I had damage at the time, so I just went wide 2 corners in a row. Yeah, for the rest, it's fine.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, yeah. Mimula, do you have any other questions?
No, not really, but Benjamin, championship still on?
Yeah, I think so. I scored some decent points again, but yeah, Midnight was really fast today, and I think it's going to be a great battle.
Okay, I think that's all we need then.
Okay then. Sadly, I don't think Warridge could join us today. I don't think he usually does join the post-induce from memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, so congratulations to you two on your podium stay. Good job today, avoiding a lot of the carnage that happened around you. Yeah, congratulations to Warrage as well. Of course, not here, but congratulations. A great win today, and really using those soft tyres to the maximum. And another driver that did very well avoiding penalties. Yeah, that is it for this week. Next week will be the French Grand Prix. So make sure you tune in next week at the same time. But until then, goodbye.